guys, here we go. So let's look at this here. So it's our last thing of the week, last part of the unit, graphing linear inequalities and absolute value equations. So this is my question, not my question, but I have a feeling that this is a review right here, and this may be new. So we'll tackle it a couple of different ways. So now let's just kind of refresh our memories. When you're dealing with inequalities and we're graphing the line, so we're graphing a line of an inequality. When we have a less than or equal to, it's a dashed line. And when we have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it's a solid line. Okay? Now, when we're dealing with absolute value equations, these are the same idea as a parent function. So an absolute value equation is going to look something like this. A time absolute value of bx plus h plus k, and then that base graph absolute value is always a v shape. So we're going to be graphing linear equalities, or we're going to be graphing absolute value equations. So let's kind of tackle this real quick. So you can use the idea of Desmos to help you out with the homework, but you are going to have to get used to graphing these relatively quick. I would just do this if I were you. I would look at this and say, okay, I'm going to have a dotted line. So this inequality is going to give me a dotted line, which is what they put in right here. Oops, I meant to do that. They put in that dotted line right here. So they put in a dotted line right there. So that's the dashed line for this inequality. Now the question is how do they graph it? And I think that's where we tend to struggle is graphing these. I would personally use the x-intercept and y-intercept method. That's what I use a lot. I don't care how you graph it. You can solve for y if you want to, but I'm going to look at it this way. I'm going to plug in 0 for y, and I'm going to get this. X plus 4y equals 2, right? But I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So I'm going to get x plus 4 times 0 equals 2. So that means that cancels, and x equals 2. So I'm going to go over to 2, and I'm going to put a dot. Then I'm going to do the same thing for my x. I'm going to make that 0. Okay, so I'm going to say x plus 4y equals 2. And x is going to equal 0 this time. This one, y equals 0. And that means 0 plus 4y equals 2. And if I divide both sides by 4, y is going to equal 1 half. So my y-intercept is 1 half. So I put it right there. And then I just draw my dotted line. Just draw my dotted line. And then all we do is look at this. Just pick a point. It's easy to test 0 and 0. You can plug in 0 and 0 and look at it and go, okay, well, 0 is not less than 2. So that means since it's not less than 2, I have to shade this side. That's the way the book kind of shows you. Okay. I would say let's do this thing a little differently. What if, and you don't have to, but you can look at it this way. What if we did this? What if we looked at this right here? Let me go back here. So if I looked at this and I said, okay, plus 4y is greater than 2. Let's say I solved for y. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Okay. I'm going to get 4y is greater than 2 minus x. And then let's just say I divide both sides by 4. Divide both sides by 4. You can leave it like that. Doesn't matter. Here's my next question. Which way does the arrow point? Does it say greater than or less than? This is a greater than symbol. So if it's a greater than, then that means it's above the line. So then we just shade above the line like they did. So there's two ways to do it. You can plug in 0 and 0 and find out if it works. If it works, you shade where 0 is. If it doesn't work, you don't shade where 0 is. Or we can just solve for y in whichever way it points. If it points greater than, it'll shade above. If it points less than, you'll shade below. So let's tackle one here. Let's just we'll do this one right now. We'll do 1A first, and I'll do 1B in class on. Actually, let's do it the other way around. I'll do 1B right now, and we'll do 1A. This one will be in class. This will be the one I show everybody in class and make sure we don't have any questions here. Okay? So let's just graph this bad boy. All right, here. Let's do shapes. Let me set up my graph here, because you all know I'm just so amazing at drawing these graphs. Horrible at it. All right, I will practice because I'm going to keep doing this, and we're going to get set up. So let's look at this. So I've got this thing, and I need to graph it. Well, let's first talk about what kind of line it is. All right? So if we do that, we know that it's a greater than symbol. So that means I'm going to have a dashed line. So we're going to do a dashed line. So now I'm going to take the equation without the inequality. I'm going to say negative x plus 2y equals 4. And I'm going to find the x-intercept. So that means I'm going to plug 0 in for y. So negative x plus 2 times 0 equals 4. That's going to disappear. So negative x equals 4. X equals negative 4. That's my x-intercept. So that means I'm going to go over to negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put my dot. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it for my y-intercept. So that means I plug in x equal to 0. So negative 0 plus 2y equals 4. This is going to disappear, so I'm going to get 2y equals 4. Then I divide both sides by 2, and my y-intercept is equal to 2. So this is my y-intercept. I'm going to go up to 2, like that. All right? Now all I have to do is connect the dots. Let's see if they have a dotted line here. Do they have a dotted line? I don't think they do. Oh, look at that. Sweet. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to do that, and I would connect my dots. I would do it a lot better than I did, but it's all good. I don't know if I can. So you would connect your dots. Let me try it one more time, just because that one bugged me. There we go. So I connect my dots right there. Okay, so that's my dotted line that we said we had to use. Okay, so we said we had to use it. Now, what am I going to do? You can plug in 0 if you'd like. So you can plug in 0 and 0. We can do that. So we can go negative 0 plus 2 times 0 is greater than 4. That means 0 is less than 4. Does that make sense? Is that true? So it says 0 is greater than 4. That is not true. Not true. So that means you're going to shade above the line. So I'll just do a highlighter. That means you would shade above the line. Okay? That's one way to do it. Or, here's the other way I'm showing you. I don't care which way you do it, guys. This is, oops, I need to do drawing. This is the or part. Or, let's do a different color. Or, let's try that again. Or, this is bugging me. We just won't listen to that. Or we're going to do or. We can do this. Negative x, that is not an x. Negative x plus 2y is greater than 4. I'm going to add x to both sides. That's supposed to be a 4 there, guys. 2y is greater than 4 plus x. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Right? And since I'm dividing both sides by 2, y is greater than 4 plus x divided by 2. Which way does this point? It points greater than, which means I have to shade above. I don't care which way you guys look at it. There's a couple of little tricks to it. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to kind of work with it. So let's look at our absolute value inequalities. Okay. So we got our absolute value inequalities here, but we're going to use parent graphs to do these. It makes it so much easier. Okay. So let's tackle these. I'm going to go back to drawing. Let's put our shapes back in line. We want a solid line right now. So I'm going to, oops, is it not going to go any lower? There it goes. All right, we'll do this one first. So let's draw this guy. All right. So if you guys remember, right, from yesterday, I'm gonna have to draw this differently because I'm just looking at what the graph looks like. All right. So let's look at our inequalities here. So we're going to do our drawing. So we've got this piece here. Greater than or equal to means it's going to be a solid line. My parent function is an absolute value that looks like that. The 2 makes it skinny because that's my A. Remember, A is greater than 1, makes it steeper. That's what those two mean, same thing. And then my K, which is on the outside, is equal to 3, means it's going to be up 3. So let's just draw this. I will go to my shapes again, and I will do my line here, and I'll do it in green. And I'm going to go up to 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to draw my parent graph up 3, a little skinnier than normal. So I'm going to go like this. That's one of them. And then I'm going to go like that. And that's the other one. Now my question is, where do we shade it? So where do we shade it? We look at this. It says less than. So we shade this thing less than the absolute value bar. Okay? All right, guys, that's how we graph those things. Don't forget, I'll say it again. Let me slide back up here. Don't forget, you have multiple items to use. You have a personal tutor right here. You also have me in class. Make sure you're ready for the notes. And good luck, and we'll see you soon.